Hey YouTube, this is Jaden coming at you from Shadow Strike, and in this video I'm going to be talking about a certain situation that happened to a teammate and very good friend of mine, and I'm going to do my best not to lose it because this is something that has, well, I can't speak for him, but I think he would agree with me in saying that it has been causing him a fair amount of stress, or maybe not stress, maybe just frustration or whatever kind of label you want to slap on it. So, bud, if I'm sorry if I said it wrong, I apologize. And it's going to have a Yu-Gi-Oh situation in it. So if you're a Vanguard player and you don't give two shits about Yu-Gi-Oh, I completely agree with you. I'm getting closer and closer to not caring myself, but I'm going to continue to play Yu-Gi-Oh because, like I said, and I've said many times on this channel, it was my first love for card games, and I still feel loyal to it somewhat. I don't know why, but I'm just gonna keep playing it, and plus I finally have the deck built that I've wanted to play for months, so I really feel obligated to play it for at least a few more months. And plus I haven't been to Nationals in years, and I'd really like to go to at least one more Yu-Gi-Oh! Nationals in my time. But anyway, so here's what this video is going to be debating about. There may be some strong language in this video as well, so if that offends you, don't watch this video. So, getting into the discussion. If you have played Yu-Gi-Oh! Before, you can agree with these two things. One, Konami favors certain decks in every single format. And two, the rules are very fucking complicated. And by that, I mean I'm not so much as talking about the basic game mechanics. This is attack mode. This is defense mode. This is the attack points. This is the defense points. This is a spell card. This is a trap card. This is a fusion card. This is an exceed. I'm talking about everything as far as when a chain of effects happen. Now in Vanguard, if many effects would activate at the same time, if that card belongs to you or it is your turn, you decide in which order the effects activate. That is so easy to learn, because in Vanguard, if 4 effects kick off at the right time, at the same time, you can go, I'm going to do this, 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 and this. In Yu-Gi-Oh, there's this bullshit rule that they created called Chain, and I really don't think that when they made this, they realized how fucking complicated it would get. And it really pisses me off. The one thing about Yu-Gi-Oh is they can bend the rules and rewrite the rulings to the certain cards to where if the cheaper cards, they get the shitty end of the stick, but if they're a higher rarity and they cost more moolah, then all of a sudden it can bend the rules just a little bit so it can get the advantage, so you have to buy that card in order to get the better end of it. But back to my point. My friend went to, I'm pretty sure he won't mind if I say his name. My friend Christian, he's a member of Shadow Strike. He went to a Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament that was being hosted by ARG. Now, ARG, as you know, is Alter Reality Games, and they have their hand in pretty much every form of gaming. And I have no problem with ARGs. I've been to a couple in my day. I've had a lot of fun. I had a good experience. I understand why some people don't like ARG because they let banned players play their games. And you know what? Honestly, I'm with ARG. I don't care. Unless you are picking off smaller children and molesting them, I do not care. If you got banned from Konami for cheating, as long as you don't get caught cheating in my tournament, I really don't care. Or if you have turned over a new leaf and you're no longer a cheater, great. But getting into this video. Now, first off, let me say I don't condone cheating. I've never cheated at a card game in my life. I've never cheated in my life except on a math test in my freshman year in high school. Well, actually, my girlfriend in high school did all of my math homework. Is that considered cheating? Okay, let me put it to you this way. I have never cheated in a form of competition in my life. I was always taught growing up that whenever you're in competition, you should show sportsmanlike attitude by always playing fair. I think that's fair enough to say. Now, here's what happened. I'm not going into the whole explanation because if I have to, I'd have to explain all the cards that were involved, and I'm really not getting into it. My friend, what he did was he declared an attack, and his opponent tried to activate a card that would have stopped the attack. But my friend Christian, he's been on the channel many, many times. And if you want to check out our Yu-Gi-Oh team channel for just for SNGs, it's called Team Z Fighters. I recently just did my new deck profile in there. You can go check that out. You can go check out Christian. He does discussion videos all the time, and you can hear more about this situation over there if you're more interested. But okay, so my friend Christian, he declared an attack. His opponent activated a card that said the attack wouldn't happen, but then my friend Christian explained to him the card could not be activated because of an ability that my friend Christian was in control of, so therefore he could not activate this card. So the other player put that card in the graveyard, or the discard pile, or the drop zone. So he put that card there. Now, here's the problem. Since the card could not activate, the player, I'm assuming, I have not talked to the player that my friend Christian was playing, so I can't say what he was exactly thinking or what his intentions were, or he may have been cheating on purpose. I do not know. I can't read minds. If I could, I certainly would be in the right. I certainly would not be going to school to be a graphic designer and be an IT administrator. But he thought, since he, I'm guessing, falsely activated the card, that it went to the discard pile, the drop zone, or the graveyard. So he put it in the graveyard. Now, since the card technically could not activate, it really doesn't go to the graveyard. It would go back to the opponent. It would go back to his hand. Christian didn't say anything. Now, there were players that were jumping down Christian's throat and all over him because they classify that as cheating. Now, in Christian's defense, he did not know that by not saying anything that it was considered cheating. That part right there is what makes me mad. Also, the fact that there was another guy whose name shall not be said, because I really don't want him turning into a little pissy, sissy bitch like he did to everyone else, and he basically blew this whole situation into much bigger than it was. He wasn't even fucking there, and he pretty much just threw this big hissy fit all over the internet. I guess that's what the internet was basically meant for. Porn and people bitching who are too cowardly to do it to someone's face, or someone who just wants something to bitch about. I know a lot of those people, actually. But this guy who was not at the tournament, he didn't even know what happened. He just heard or saw or read, and then he just exploded. And that's what made me mad. It's like, okay, you weren't fucking there. You don't know what happened. Shut the fuck up. Now, Christian, since he knew that card didn't go in the graveyard, and he knew that his opponent activated the card at the wrong time, he did not know that by not saying anything that was classified as cheating. Now, here's my point on it. When you enter a major tournament, I don't care if it's regionals, I don't care if it's nationals, I don't care if it's an ARG event, I don't care if it's the World fucking Championship, and I don't care what we're talking about. I don't care if we're talking about football, I don't care if we're talking about basketball, tennis, a card game, titty fucking, I don't care. If you're entering a major tournament that is beyond a local tournament or a local tournament get-together, or you're just playing casually, you're no longer going to receive help. You're no longer going to get a person to maybe give you hints or give you a rule book. If you're competing at that level in any card game, we'll just go back to card game. I'm sorry, guys, I'm still pissed off, so if I'm going a little overboard, I apologize. If you compete at a level in a card game or any kind of game, actually, that is not considered a exhibition game or a local thing, you're on your own. Because if you're competing in a tournament of that high, let me turn off my television. If you're competing in a level above that, by being in that tournament, you're saying that you are good enough to compete. That you are good enough to compete for yourself, and you don't need help, and you know your shit enough to play the game. I understand a card ruling might come up in question, and one person might be off. But this was something that was simple, that should have been handled differently. And Christian's admitted that he should have called the judge, but he did not, he did not know that by not saying anything, that it was something that people would be calling for his head, and the number one, and Christian, if I'm overblowing this in some which way, I'm sorry, I'm just still real pissed about this because of this punk-ass guy who was not even there, who just decided to stick his nose in there when he was not there and just blow this into a whole mess that could have been, that didn't have anything to do with him, could have all been avoided. Now, guys, in the long run, Christian was told, basically, okay, you cheated, you should have said something, you should have called a judge, blah, 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 blah. I don't know the exact wording. If you want to hear about that, I'm sure after this video is posted, Christian will give you his 2 cents in the comment section below. Christian, I'm sorry if I said something wrong, I wasn't meaning to. But this whole video is like, okay, if you were in a major event, you should know your shit, and you shouldn't be well off enough to where you don't need someone to correct you on basic mechanical parts of the game. Now, if this were Vanguard, I'm pretty sure nothing would have happened, but when we're talking about a game like Yu-Gi-Oh! That is so fucking hard to learn, these things can happen. Now, I don't know how good this guy was. He may have been a rookie. He may have been a 12-year veteran like me, but the thing that pissed me off about this is, guys, if you go to a major tournament, you should know your stuff enough, and it is not your opponent's obligation to hold your hand and make sure you do everything right. Now, I've heard that it's both players' responsibilities to keep the pace of the game. Now, you know what? I say to that, fuck that. It is not my job to make sure that you do everything to the best of your ability and make sure that you keep and with the basic knowledge of the game. Because when I'm playing someone, my mind is on my moves, my strategy, my moves, what I'm doing. That is what I'm thinking about. I'm not even giving 2 shits about what you're doing other than the moves you're making. And the fact that now you're telling me I have to be responsible to make sure you do everything right. Now, if you activate a card wrong, that's one thing. But if you simply take a card and discard it into the graveyard, drop zone, discard pile, and you don't know that, well, Tough Titty said the fucking kitty, I don't understand why this was such a big thing. I mean, I understand why it was, but I don't, if that makes any fucking sense. And in Christian's defense, in me defending him, that wasn't cheating. In my honest opinion, guys, that wasn't cheating. I've heard of other ways that people have cheated, like there was that Yu-Gi-Oh! Player over in Europe who was on the back of all his sleeves, he had those smooth sleeves, and he would take his fingernail, he would mark his opponent's cards. That way when he was shuffling his deck, and he'd go, oh, that card's marked. That's Dark Hole. I don't want him to have that. To the bottom. That's cheating. That's cheating. When you are doing something to where you are hurting your opponent to the point where you are almost putting a hand in the game to where you're guaranteeing yourself to win, that's cheating. Something like this, that's not cheating. That's Mr. I'm a dumbass and I don't know the basic rules of the game and I can't read a fucking card. So that's my opinion on it, guys. I'm sorry if it got blown out of proportion, and if you don't agree with me, you have every right not to agree with me. I have my opinion, you have your opinion, and this is mine. Christian should not have gotten so much as a slap on the wrist for this. But you know what? he took it well. He said, you know what? Okay, fine. I should have just called a judge, or I should have told him, or whatever. So, Christian, again, I'm sorry if I didn't put it in the best way that I could have. I apologize. So, anyway, guys, please tell me in the comment section below. Do you agree with me? If not, what's your opinion on it? And I guess let's debate over it. I'd like to hear some feedback on this, guys. Thanks for watching. Comment, rate, subscribe, thumbs up to the video. Go check out my Yu-Gi-Oh! Team that me and Christian are on, Team Z Fighters, and I will see y'all later.